Yeah, I used to have, I think it was about year 1500 or something like that, and I don't really know exactly when. I had like, I forget which team it was. It was like French or Dutch or someone. I forget exactly who it was exactly, but I had this big church, and the church is now underwater, I think. Basically, there was this place, and they were doing rocket launches from there. I gotta say, there's been thousands of years have passed or whatever, but they were doing rocket launches. The very first rocket launch, I believe, was in year 1200 or year 13 or something, 14. Um, they just got up a little ways. It took them quite a while. Year 1500, I think, was when they were really like getting some distance out of the rockets. And they created like this little pad and this metal or something like that and stuff like that. And there's this town, and I think we were doing catapults and stuff like that. And I think we were testing out some pods or something. I was launching chickens basically into the air. Basically, they're launching chickens, and they would come down to the ground or something like that. It was really weird. Um, they were just playing around. I was paying them to basically just play around. I think there was a mine or something like that. I had a bunch of workers, and I had this big bell cast for the church. And well, it wasn't really a church; it was just a town hall, basically, and a school. And they would ring the bell, dung, 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 at like lunchtime and stuff like that. And it was this big like community, and they were doing the rocket launches, and they were I was paying them basically, and and they were doing some other stuff, and I think they were also inventing like some stuff for they were actually inventing some stuff for whaling or something like that. Some we were trying to like big long spike or something, and they were messing around with some ropes. They were trying to get the rope better or something like that. I forget the details of it. It was a long time ago. It was in 1500, and we also launched some pods with chickens. I think we were testing out parachutes too a little bit, where they took the catapults and they put a pod in there with a chicken, and they launched the pod up into the air and like had the chute deploy. It was like they would try and then we used the rocket or something like that. Like at first when we built the catapults and they would go launch the pod and the chicken and everything, we'd see if the chute would deploy on the way down. Messing around with parachutes, basically like first canvas parachutes or whatever. And the chicken didn't always make it. The chicken sometimes was eaten for dinner. We went through a lot of chickens. What can I say? Um, so anyway, I don't know. It was a weird project, and so like somewhere around year 1500, I had rockets and stuff, and we had some rockets, and they did some successful launches with rockets and chickens, and I think that's where we were doing the big giant. We were messing around with some metal, like burning the metal, basically. I think like that, and that's how we got to Cosmos. Is from year 1500. We were messing around with rockets and launching chickens, and then we got to Cosmos, and we did some other stuff. And I don't think we could get a successful pod back or something like that. We're having problems with that. But a person might have gone up and then died, and or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think they wanted to. I think they didn't want to ask me or something like that, or they didn't want to involve me. And I was like, well, we're in an atmosphere and you're moving really fast, so or something like that. I forget exactly what the deal was, but I think I was going for vertical launch and then back down or something like that. And you need to go with the Earth or something like that. Anyway, I had people basically. I mean, I was basically rich anyway, so it's like whatever. I mean, they've been messing around with it since 1500, and I think they actually successfully did get someone up in there and back down or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. Um, I don't know. The first successful thing was way later, somewhere around 1800 or something like that. I don't really know anymore. Like it was so long ago, really, for me. I mean, hundreds, thousands, millions of years. I don't really know. It was basically back when I was just becoming, and and later on, then they did the other stuff, and then I think and then Germany did a bunch of rockets, and we did successful rockets up near orbit or something like that. Well, there's Cosmos, and I forget when that was. Big mining town. They're mining, and they had a whole bunch of this extra metal or something like that. I don't really remember. We built a dam for the rockets or something like that. I forget. We did all this stuff. I was financing all this stuff basically, financing the whole world pretty much, and leading my people and everything else like that. And we did project after project. The first white line down the road, wagons were only about 4 foot wide or 2 foot wide, so an 8 foot strip of road was fine. It goes back to Roman times, and then later on we had asphalt, and cars were a lot smaller back then. I mean, the metal, the amount of metal that it costs to build a car used to be basically most of the cost, the mining of it and everything else like that. And then later on, we got better and better and better ways, and then bigger and bigger roads. I had Auschwitz, and like I said, they blasted all this stuff about how Germany and Auschwitz was this death camp. It's like, no, I had a steam engine there, and the steam stuff, and steam heating, and we did steam heating for the schools and stuff, and I think even had pipes at some point. But then later on, we switched over to little coal, little what's it called, fire things, and then that was a problem because there was too much smog from all the cooking shops or all the heating things. So I think we had steam or something. We did a lot of different things, and over the years, like it switched from this to that, and like later on, I didn't just have Auschwitz. Later on, we were doing the aircraft, and then I had the tires and stuff like that. And then like the female pilots, ferrying the aircrafts around, to the different people that bought them or whatever. Hundreds of thousands of years or whatever. Anyway, I don't really care anymore. It's just like, well, it was my past. I'm the real Lucifer, and Lucifer White Star line, white paint. I had I had an advanced paint shop at the what's now called the Renault factory. We built a paint shop just down thing. I spent like $1,000 or something out there, a couple $100, and it went a long ways to building all the things. They had like 30,000 saved up, and he was going to be able to pay me back. And I was like, no, just let's invest it again. So they built a huge paint shop, and built a lot of cars from that, because they didn't have that much money or that much metal, and I think they wanted to buy me out, or I don't know. They wanted to pay the loan off, and I was like, nah, I gave you 60,000, whatever. You only have 30,000 back or whatever. So, and I think they were mining it, or I don't know. There was something, same with finances, and I was like, and they didn't have the money, so I was like, don't worry about it. Let's just go ahead and invent it, and you get a raise. And so, they did really well, and they were a really good team. So then Paris became a problem, and we had to go over there and do that kind of stuff. Anyway, lots of stuff has happened, and I'm like, I owned all this stuff and had all this money, and I was like, well, I invested it. So we can, you invest money to make more money and be greater. So, and research and development and all that other stuff. So, plastics and stuff like that. And it was hugely successful and very rich. And I've been very rich for a very long time. But like I say, I'm creator of the sun and the galaxies and 800 galaxies. And it's like, and then I had to put down some psychopaths that were more well known than me, and I was like, oh. Anyway, they were lying and saying this and saying that, and they really didn't have the money, they didn't have the resources, They were, just because you tell a bunch of people you want to do this, of course you could just go to school, but then that takes like a long time to be able to build a great big huge power plant. I think he tried to do some halfway stuff, and he didn't get very far or something like that, and then I had to call in get some real advisors over there or something like that from America and stuff. I said I own Germany, I own Russia, and I owned America, so I was like, come on. So they went over there. I owned England forever, all the China and everything else like that. And I had a world to feed, and a world to clothe, and a world to make shoes for, so, it's just a matter of, and then world censuses and stuff like that, so. Anyway, I don't care.